as well. Hopefully, yeah. So, hello guys, I'm actually live now. Hello everybody. So today, it's a bit unusual for me to actually have my webcam on, and that is because today I'm doing something slightly different here. I am actually going to, as well as doing the tech news, of course, because that's the reason why you clicked on this, I am also going to review this Chinese drink, just for a laugh, some extra entertainment for the podcast. And yeah, why don't we get into that? Also, hello, Pigus.
Hello?
Hello. So we're doing some extra stuff today, I suppose. So here's the drink. I shall open it. That did not destroy everything. That's good. And there we are. So let me pour this. And this, is an interesting drink. That's quite an orangey drink, I would say. But it's very mild. I've tried to flavor this with lychee. It was a lot more, kind of distinctive. It was a lot more lychee flavored. But this is very mild orange. So this is the Dayo. I'm not sure. If you're Chinese, sorry for the poor pronunciation, but it's an orange flavored soda. So I'll pull it up on the screen, share in a minute. But first, I just wanted to say, yeah, it's a pretty nice tasting drink, to be honest. But it's quite mild and not exactly the most distinct flavor, but still pretty nice. Have you ever tried this drink, Pigus? I'm guessing you haven't.
I've never seen it before.
Yes. Well, I hadn't seen it until I saw it in a corner shop, and now you get this review, guys. So, hey, if you want to check this out, it only might have something that the state of California says you shouldn't drink. I don't know. What was the thing again? What did it say on the website, Pickers?
Um, it says it contains chemicals that can cause cancer and birth defects.
Yes, so the Californian Health Authority, to be fair, phenylalanine can cause cancer. But anyway, let's go over to actually doing tech news, why don't we? Instead of depressing news to do with the fact that most soft drinks contain chemicals that could cause cancer. That might be a better idea, mightn't it, Biggest?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But anyway, so that's a pre-show, guys. If you actually, also I just realised I've still got this me here. Let me get rid of that for a second. So yeah, so thanks for watching that, I suppose. That's a bit of that was a bit, not exactly, what I expected to do, but I just decided, you know what, I'll do this just for some fun as a part of the pre-show. Now we're actually going to get into the show, guys. So if you're watching, and you are actually watching this afterwards, then you would not have got that interesting thing, I suppose. And, and yeah, so we will start recording in a minute. But yeah, let's get started now. So hello, Hotshot Banan Bot.
Hello.
Hello. Are you here for the tech news?
Hello. Sorry?
Hello. I have not seen you on this Discord before. Hello.
No, I don't think I've joined voice before.
Yeah, so your levels are a bit it's quite loud, but anyway, thanks for attending.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Do you know this person, Piggis?
Mhm.
Yes, I do.
Cool.
He's my mascot, you know.
Yeah, so let's get on with the news. So the first story today, the one that we were going to cover as a kind of headline story here, is that Apple's electric car project is officially dead. So after decades of work, apparently, yeah, the company's just decided to kill off this project. So people were talking about it in the tech space for quite a while. There were lots of rumors that they were working on this project, but now they have actually officially killed it off. So Project Titan is no more. And of course, for quite a while, it was just rumors, speculation that they might be working on this car project. But then it became, it didn't ever become fully official. But of course, there were so many leaks to do with it. It was quite obvious that they were going to do that. They were actually going to release this EV. However, now it appears that they have decided to move some of the teams over. So they've actually fully killed off this project, and those teams are now working on other stuff. Are you sad that they're no longer working on an EV? Either of you guys? Yeah. Do you would you have wanted to see an Apple EV?
I'm not really familiar with EVs. Could you just summarize what they're about?
Like electric vehicles.
Okay.
Mhm.
So a Tesla, for example.
Yeah. So they're an example of an EV maker. Yeah. So of course it makes sense that Apple would get into the EV space if they're gonna get into cars because of course they had CarPlay and stuff like that, as well as the fact that of course they do a lot of battery based stuff, and of course this is a fully electric product. However, it appears, that they've just decided to stop investing their resources into this project, and now, it is officially been killed off. So RIP, the car that was, that never was released to the public. And who knows what Apple might do with cars in the future, but it appears that they are not going to be directly involved with the manufacturing of the cars. Yeah.
Oh,
Did you hear about this
it
story
would be
before?
so. It would be so cool to see a Apple branded car.
How expensive would they be, though? Let's be
Yeah.
honest.
Expensive.
Yeah, to begin with, at least. I mean, their new VR headset, that's through the roof in pricing. So I wouldn't expect EVs to be any different.
Yeah, and I mean, imagine how much they'll charge for the wheels as well. With the Apple Mac Pro, yeah. But yeah, so they, of course, yeah, it would have been an expensive car. People are, of course, willing to sometimes pay that price for the Apple luxury product, I suppose. And of course, they have great branding, some of the best marketing of any tech company, and all those Apple stores, although I can't imagine they'll be able to fit the vehicles. Imagine that. Just walk into the Apple store, spacious place. No longer. If you had a car in there. So yeah, maybe they wouldn't actually put, maybe that wasn't the plan. It would be hilarious if it was, but yeah, of course, now we'll never know what Apple will do, with electric vehicles because they have killed off the project.
Yeah, but why though? Why did they kill it off?
Probably because, of course, AI is now the new big thing, and of course, the shareholders don't really like to see, a company that they're invested in, spending money on a project that might not actually return them much. So overall, it might be, a wise decision for them, to get rid of this EV project. Although, of course, we don't know whether this could have been like the next big thing, whether Apple's EVs could have broken new ground and really popularized EVs, given their, amazing brand reach. But of course, it might be a bit price prohibitive, so there's also that aspect that some of the customers that might have learnt about EVs through Apple would have also been totally turned off by the price tag. So yeah, I suppose we don't know what will happen. We don't know what would have happened if they had done this, and I suppose we'll never know.
Yeah.
Unless they, revived the project or something. Anyway,
I think they will actually. I think they just graced it to what's it called? Keep up with what's hip these days, and then when it starts to die out, I think they'll revisit the idea actually.
Yeah. I think they probably will have some sort of involvement in cars because, of course, the EV space is going to be massive, and cars are such a big aspect of people's lives, especially in the US, where Apple is a very big player, with iPhones being, the biggest, having the biggest market share in the phone space by quite a bit compared to, of course, European markets, where both cars are less dominant as well as Apple products. So of course they do want to have involvement in that space. However, of course they've tried to do that with CarPlay and stuff like that, to actually put Apple software within the car. However, it appears for now they won't have that deeper integration within the car, because they aren't actually making it their own. Anyway, we spent quite a lot of time on that story, although it was quite an interesting one. Unless anybody has anything else to really say about that, we'll move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Cool. So this is interesting. So GitHub Copilot Enterprise is now available for $39 a month. So that, I'm guessing that is US dollars. And yeah, this is interesting for those who are in the development space. Of course, not everybody is into programming or development. However, Copilot is a pretty big AI automation tool for that, for developers. And of course, there was all the controversy to do with them taking code from different GitHub repos and basically training their AI model based on people's code. However, it appears to be less of a concern now, I suppose, as in people have kind of moved to make this more generally available for enterprise customers. So they could make quite a lot of money from this, I feel, if a lot of people subscribe to this $39 a month plan. Of course, I think it will leave a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. That Microsoft feel that they can, on one hand, take people's code, their open source code, and train their model on it, and at the same time charge customers quite a lot of money to be able to access the end product. However, of course, in the corporate space, that makes sense. However, of course, it may not go down well with the community. Do you have any thoughts, Pigus, as a developer who uses GitHub a bit and stuff like that?
I haven't really touched Copilot at all, really.
Mm-hmm. Why haven't you tested it out or tested it out at all? I guess you might not find it convenient to or whatever. But is there any? Do you have like any sort of moral objections to Copilot in the sense of them taking people's
No.
code? Okay, no.
Well, maybe, but it's mostly like I wouldn't pay for that service.
Yeah, understandable. It is quite expensive, especially for these enterprise customers. Although, of course, I think in the long run, the improved productivity could be worth that $39 price tag. And of course, with all these features, perhaps it's worth it. However, of course, not everybody will agree. And yeah, maybe people won't be willing to pay this price. And of course, corporate customers are quite slow to adopt new technology often. So we'll have to see how that plays out. However, of course, for many, this Copilot technology is very promising for improving people's code.
Mm-hmm.
Unless anybody has any other thoughts on that, I will continue on here to another. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I lost my train of thought.
Yeah. Also, if you could, like, your mic right now, you're kind of maxing out your levels a bit. I think. If you could, like, sorry, do something to do with that. Like, as in slightly decrease your volume. That would be good for the people listening on the stream.
Is this better? Same? Worse?
Yeah, that's better. That is better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had my sensitivity to automatic, so.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. So if we can continue on to the next story here. So Tim Cook.
Oh, I remember the question. How would it help people? How would it help developers?
So they can use Copilot to be able to, see what they could do with code and see how they could tackle certain problems.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you could put in, whatever prompt and see what code it comes back with, as well as being able to get assistance within VS Code for different code lines. Is that
essentially?
Okay, thank you.
It's ChatGPT for coding.
Yeah, that is pretty much it. So yeah, so
because I think it's down the lane technology is ChatGPT, right?
I think yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course Microsoft are a big investor in ChatGPT, which reminded time and time again when they come out with these AI products, and they're almost always based on ChatGPT technology. So yeah. But shifting focus here to another AI story, Tim Cook. Tim Cook's got some different AI ambitions, and it appears that they're going their own way, as is the Apple way in general, with this. So apparently they said they will break new ground on Gen AI this year. So this is of course going to be a new focus for Apple with AI being such a kind of such a trend. Of course, they want to get in on that, and they're one of the only tech companies so far that haven't really done as much when it comes to the latest chat AIs. They've more been focused historically on AI, like throughout the past couple years. I mean, however, they haven't really focused much on Chat GPT style stuff on those LLMs. However, it does appear they are working on some AI technology to sort of catch up when it comes to AI. So maybe we'll see some more Apple AI stuff. Of course, Microsoft and other companies have, been kind of leading in that space. Sorry, Hotshot Banan bot. We can hear some background noise. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
That's weird. I have a crisp on.
Okay, so
I can use.
yeah, or you can of course use push to talk. That's another option. If you're on the correct platform for that. Anyway, do you have any thoughts on this, Pigus? Or Hotshot Banana Bot? Okay, so
Not really.
No.
Okay, so let's move on here. So here's a bit of a worrying story when it comes to the job market, I suppose, for some people. So Klarna, they're quite a big buy now, pay later company, and of course they're quite involved in the financial services industry. Well, now apparently they are claiming that an AI assistant does the work that 700 employees used to do. So the fintech company have, of course, been all over the place. So they are quite big here in the UK. You see all sorts of stuff to do with them and buy now, pay later. However, they are apparently originally a Swedish firm. So they've laid off quite a few people, but they are from Sweden. And yeah, they're quite a international operation these days. I've seen stuff to do with them in the UK, and I suppose that they would have also expanded more internationally. Although I'm not sure how much they've done that outside of Europe. Anyway, so getting back to the main story at hand here. So Klarna has, so apparently they're saying this automation has already replaced the jobs of 700 people. So they're, of course, using some AI to replace certain roles that would have originally been done, some administrative roles, by apparently full-time agents, which would have been done, by these 700 different people. And of course, this does worry people, because of course they think, quite fairly, I think, that the job market could end up, kind of shrinking because, of course, there'll be less roles for people to fill, and there'll be a lot more competition for those roles, or at least that's how the theory goes. And yeah, this is another company taking advantage of AI in order to replace workers, but we'll have to see what sort of response this gets. From workers, from unions, and from governments. Do you have any thoughts, Piggers? Have you heard of this firm before?
Mm-hmm.
Are they a big thing in Sweden?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, so like what kind
Yeah,
of services do
I
they
agree.
offer in Sweden?
Like you said, buy now, pay later. Oh,
You see, yeah,
what else is it?
that's the only domain I know them for.
That's the yeah,
Do you
you
really know
can
anything more?
yeah, you can have like or I guess it like coincides with that, but you can have like a savings account apparently. You can have a credit card through them. And stuff like that. So it's very, very much
Yeah, so
like credit based,
yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah, so in Sweden, they appear to have expanded their credit-based operations a lot more than here in the UK. Of course, they're
Mhm.
from Sweden. That makes sense. They're, of course, going to focus on the domestic market a bit. But
Mhm.
yeah, so they're quite a big firm. And of course, this kind of stuff does worry people, which is quite fair. However, for now, this is only, for them replacing these customer service agents. But of course, in the future, this could replace even more workers than just these 700 people. Anyway, moving on here to another AI story. I know, it seems like a never-ending AI section today. I mean, so far, we're already 22 minutes through, and yeah, we're only just getting to the end of the coverage here of the AI stories. Yeah, so clearly lots going on in the AI world these days. So no surprise there with one of those kind of buzzword topics, but OpenAI apparently is alleging that the New York Times paid somebody to hack them. So this is coming from Torrent Freak here. So they often have some interesting stories in the kind of copyright infringement and piracy space. Just seeing what's going on in that space. And yeah, apparently they are alleging that the New York Times tried to hack somebody, tried to hack OpenAI by basically paying somebody to hack the OpenAI. So, of course, historically, there's been a number of press hacking scandals. There's a phone hacking scandal here in the UK. Of course, that's a way bigger thing than what is happening here. Although, who knows where this could go? Perhaps this will become a bigger story. But of course, this is a pretty shocking thing for the Times to do, if it is true, because, of course, hacking companies is not the best journalistic thing to do. It isn't really holding up your journalistic integrity. However, of course, these are allegations. I'd like to stress that again. Please do not sue me, New York Times, for for talking about this. Yeah, do you guys have any thoughts? We don't know if this is true or not yet, but these are some pretty wild allegations if they are true. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is the New York Times, so I mean, it would be kind of crazy if that's true, actually.
Yeah, they're not one of those outlets that you expect to do that kind of stuff. Like, they're not a
Mhm.
tabloid or anything like that. So, they're not exactly known for doing stuff like this. So it would surprise me if they did. But we'll just have to see what comes of this and what happens in, a court of law potentially, if it reaches
Mhm.
there, and just what the response is in general. So I don't want to comment upon that too much. But of course, you guys can.
Yeah, it will be interesting. It will be interesting either way.
Mhm.
If it's not true, then why did they claim that?
Yeah.
So that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if this is a pretty big lie, if this is a lie, but this is also a pretty big, a pretty big story if it turns out the New York Times did this. So really, either way, this is going to be quite a big thing because either way, somebody is somewhat in the wrong here. So yeah. Anyway, moving on to the mobile news here. So the mobile OS maker Yola is is back and building an AI device. So of course they previously known for releasing Sailfish OS as well as their own devices. Excuse me. But yeah, so they are now apparently back with this AI device, and yeah, it's been a while since we've heard something from this company, but now it appears that they are trying to kind of do something with this AI trend, and apparently they turned up to Mobile World Congress 2024. So that's a pretty big event, and they talked about this new Jolla AI device. So yeah, so running AI locally is of course quite a big thing, and if they could do that with a phone, it could be pretty big for this company. And historically, they haven't seen that much success with their ventures, given that only a few customers in Europe really use the device. However, perhaps this could see wider success in the phone market. Have you guys heard of this company before at all? Have any of you heard of Sailfish OS, their main product?
I'm just slightly familiar with Sailfish.
Yeah, I mean, they did have some interesting kind of relationship towards the old Nokia stuff. So apparently, I think they split from the Migo team in Nokia. I'm just looking through the article here, but there was some interesting stuff with that. Of course, Nokia moved in a totally different direction when they were acquired by Microsoft, going down that Windows mobile route. Not everybody liked it. A lot of people thought it was, kind of against the kind of Nokia brand. And of course, it didn't end very well because, of course, Microsoft had to sell Nokia in the end. However, they're still around today, Nokia. However, of course, not so successful in the phone market. But neither is Jolla. So, I suppose neither of them are seeing as much success. But yeah. Have you heard? What do you think about the modern Nokia devices? Either of you guys. Do you guys either of you use a Nokia device these days, or have you used one in the past? I don't know.
Only the 3310.
Oh, that's
But that's quite some time ago. That's like 25 years ago or something.
yeah. I was gonna say that would be a long
And I
time
am
ago.
only 26, but yeah. So back in the day, I'd say they were pretty cutting edge with technology that's gonna last you. Compared to like phones these days.
Yeah. So
Um,
also, sorry guys, for pouring a drink. The drink that I was actually showing on camera just before the show started. Wow, that didn't pick up on Discord voice activity, but it did pick up on the OBS thing. So sorry about that, guys. If you wondered what that was. Anyway, yeah. So, do you guys want to continue on to something else? We've been covering, this mobile story for a bit now. Yeah. Let's not get too sidetracked, I feel. Okay, so let's move on to the Microsoft Copilot story. So Copilot can apparently now replace Google Assistant or Bixby on your Android. So of course, a few weeks ago we saw this story to do with OpenAI, and yeah, so they were apparently going to allow you to specify ChatGPT as your digital assistant app. However, Microsoft has beat them to the punch here, and they've actually done it before them. So that's cool. But of course, they haven't really added any extra functionality with this new, default. It is just now allowing you to set it as the default assistant. Do you guys have any thoughts on this? Will you be setting Microsoft Copilot as your default assistant, or
no.
do you use a mobile
No.
assistant? Do you want to?
Yeah, I actually use a Google phone, so and I think the Google Assistant is pretty good
Mm-hmm.
as it is. I mean, it has some like growing to do, but that's like it's not too bad. I'd say it's better than Bixby. Not as good as Siri.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, so I think, yeah, so of course, Google Assistant did come out on top when it came to a lot of the tests. Of course, Siri often refers to the web and stuff like that. Whenever it doesn't answer a query, it says, "Here's what I found on the web." But of course, that can be very annoying for iPhone users. But now apparently they're replacing in a lot of markets. We covered last week the fact that they're actually replacing Google Assistant with Gemini. So they're adding some more AI smarts to the assistant and making it work with a large language model. I guess, yeah. You have any thoughts on that as a user of Google Assistant Hotshot? Are you happy about that? Do you think that this is a good change or unnecessary?
Sorry, what's the change again?
So Google are apparently rebranding the Google Assistant as Gemini on Android, and they are, integrating the Gemini technology into the app. So that's using a large language model instead of just like using the newer, language model, I suppose. So that's a bit of a change, I suppose. Do you
No
need?
thoughts right now.
Mm-hmm.
It can go either way. I'm guessing that it's gonna be pretty like buggy in the beginning.
Yeah, I do feel it will.
And
Yeah,
yeah, and what worries me a little is like the users like integrity and stuff like that, since it's gonna it's gonna implement that
yeah.
change with the language and whatnot. So
Yeah. So
that worries me a bit, but
I think it will, of course, be a bit buggy to start with, but of course things will improve with different updates, and of course Gemini's already a thing on other platforms, so perhaps it won't be too buggy when it comes to Android. But yeah. Anyway, do you want to continue on to the next story, guys? Just to keep it moving here. We're spending a lot of time on
yeah.
these stories. That's good, but also, we don't want to get too sidetracked on things. So yeah. Anyway, so now apparently the Android police are reporting that Nubia Flip 5G is going to be a budget Razer rival. So ZT revealed this device on day one of the MWC. So we were previously talking about that with Jola, and yeah, this is a pretty big news for you flip phone fans. So if you like the Razer but you just can't afford it, maybe for $599 US, this could be the package. So it is apparently got a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 and dual screens, obviously, because it is one of these devices that are flip phones. And that is a very common feature. But of course, previously you couldn't get a phone which folded or flipped at this price category. However, we'll have to see how this actually is, how maintainable this phone is, whether it will break quickly or whether it will stand the test of time and all of those opening and closes, it will have to withstand. So hopefully they've tested for that, and hopefully this is a good budget phone for all those people who wanted something, one of those flip phones. Yeah. So yeah, maybe it hasn't reached the market potential it could if there was, this cheaper option which has now been presented. Do you guys have any thoughts? Okay, so yeah. Okay, so moving on here to the next story. So Google's Gemini integration in messages is now official. So we were reporting this the previous week, and now apparently, it's now official on Google Messages. So you can now use Gemini to actually compose messages within chat. So perhaps you didn't know what to say, perhaps you weren't exactly sure on, the kind of way you wanted to express it. Well, now this could be very helpful to talk to people. And of course, if you are actually trying to talk in a foreign language, perhaps it could help you even more in that department if the AI is well versed with it. However, of course, it could give you some ill advice, which could end badly. Of course, there's always the possibility of that. But yeah, hopefully, this works well for the users of Google Messages. And it's a pretty cool feature if you wanted to just find out how to respond to something. Do you guys have any thoughts? Again, sorry.
I mean, this kind of thing can be very useful, but it's also scary how much like the AI will know about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it. I mean, it is quite scary how the AI will be able to track like all your conversations if you use this. But of course, they are advising people don't use this with your sensitive conversations. It does make sense. If you talk about something very sensitive, it could be revealed to the AI, and that is not end-to-end encrypted. So that is, not good if you wanted to keep something a secret. However, of course, for many people who are using RCS or using messaging in general, this will be a welcome feature. Anyway, moving on to a story for all those Nokia fans, all those people let down by HMD Global. They feel sad about this, about Nokia going away. Well, don't you guys worry. HMD has got your back here, guys. They have really got your back. HMD apparently have announced a flip phone. A Barbie flip phone. So, HMD are taking a new direction here, I suppose, partnering with Mattel to release a Barbie flip phone. So, if you are a Nokia fan, I mean, this is not exactly what you might be looking for, but I suppose it's what you're gonna get. So this is a bit of an unusual, slightly unorthodox pairing of HMD and of Mattel here. So this could appeal to a certain type of person, a certain kind of demographic, mainly of younger women and younger girls. However, I don't think this will have mass market appeal, and of course, HMD are targeting a very specific market with this phone. But yeah, I suppose we'll just have to see whether anybody buys this when it comes out, or whether it will just be a minor release. Do you guys have any thoughts? Will you guys be buying it?
No.
Yeah, I'm mainly joking around here, to be honest. I don't think either of you will buy it, but yeah, this is a interesting phone, I suppose. I don't think it will have the best specifications, just because it's a brand collaboration, and they're targeting certain users who will just buy it because it's got Barbie on the, on the label, I suppose. But of course, if you're looking for the best specs, perhaps this won't be the best. However, it will be interesting to see how they combine Barbie and phones. Excuse me. Yes. Anyway, do you guys want to move on now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so of course, HMD always thinking about their specific customers, all those Nokia customers. Of course, this is exactly what they were always asking for, their number one feature suggestion. No, but, yeah, this isn't really what, what HMD Global fans wanted, but I suppose it's what they're getting. Anyway. So Apple is under fire, from the EU, for apparently disabling iPhone web apps. So they have asked developers to weigh in. That is, the EU have asked developers to weigh in. And they are asking, whether this is okay for developers. And apparently they have got a March 6th compliance deadline for actually going ahead and putting in their compliance with web apps. Do you guys have any thoughts on this? I mean, it's quite a, it's not too shocking to see the EU trying to enforce their own rules, but it's good to see, regulators actually stepping up to the plate and actually enforcing their regulations on these big tech companies. Yeah. Do you guys have any thoughts?
Remember, wasn't it just a mistake that they disabled the web apps, or like they didn't work or
Yeah, I
something?
remember it was a mistake, but this doesn't appear to be that they actually managed to actually put it back in. Because apparently they've claimed it's too hard to keep offering it under the new regulation. It's too hard. Well, that is an interesting legal defense. But perhaps it won't stand up with the EU. But yeah, so of course this sounds like a BS probably, but we'll have to see how regulators approach this. But it does appear that they're not letting Apple get away with this one. Anyway, let's move on to a gaming story here. So some nice gaming news for all you people who want to try out a streaming service. GeForce Now apparently now has a free tier that will allow you to watch ads before gaming. So that's such a privilege, being able to watch all those adverts before your game. No, but seriously, this of course is going to be good for certain users, people who can't afford a streaming service. This will be a nice thing. However, it will be quite annoying, all the advertisements when you're actually using the streaming service. Do you guys have any thoughts?
So
Not
much
really.
ads.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I'm surprised they aren't charging for it, to be honest. I mean, when you look at the other companies, all the streaming services have started charging for ad-supported tiers. I mean, Netflix is doing it. Why doesn't Nvidia? Perhaps because they want to appear more, innocent with this before they actually go in with some pricing structure for this, or maybe they will actually hold this up and continue going with this.
I mean, is it like
Yeah.
one ad, one session, or
I'm not sure. It doesn't appear to be that specific at current
that
moment.
doesn't seem very profitable?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how long sessions might be. Because of course, if they only give you like 20 minutes, maybe it's more profitable. But we don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, but that sounds plausible. I mean, if you were to watch like TV or something, it's like 20 minutes in between commercials, right?
Yeah. So perhaps it could work with cloud gaming, although there are much higher overheads when it comes to actually providing the space, providing the virtual, PC power. So Of course, that can be done on scale. However, it's still more expensive than streaming out an existing show. Anyway, let's move on to a broadband and cellular news story. So, United Global in Bulgaria is closing its acquisition of Bursa Telecom, I suppose, in Bulgaria. So this is a big news for people in the Bulgarian market, I suppose, because this company that is only 4 years ago actually entered into the UK market, into the Bulgarian market, has actually now acquired this telecom company, this satellite company. So apparently, they've existed for at least 24 years now, and now this United Group is acquiring them. So this is big news, I guess, for their customers. I'm guessing you guys don't really care too much about Bulgarian mobile news, but I suppose it's international stories for international viewers. Anyway, moving on to something slightly more potentially interesting for you guys. So, Warp Terminal is apparently now available on Linux. This is big news. Have you heard about this, Pigus?
I think I've heard about War.
Well,
Yeah,
it's apparently Rust-based,
somewhat familiar.
closed source,
Mm-hmm.
Rust-based. It was apparently only previously available on macOS, but now Warp is available on Linux as well. So perhaps the community might be quite hostile to this, given it's closed source and totally proprietary. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw this.
I also just realized I said totally proprietary. Yeah, I'm not trying to reference like a Richard Stallman meme here. I I didn't really think about that when I said it. But yeah, I suppose insert the meme now. But yeah, so of course, there will be some opposition to this being on Linux without the source code being available. And of course, a lot of people who are diehard free and open source fans will not go for this. However, for some people who want a terminal with some AI functionality, this could be a new option. So I don't think there's been that many of these AI terminal applications before on Linux, so this is an interesting addition. Excuse me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have you thought about trying this out, Pigus? Or are you going to keep your system away from this?
I looked at it
Mhm.
and saw, oh, this is interesting. And then I saw, oh, proprietary. No.
So is proprietary a big problem for you? As in, if something's proprietary, would you just not install it?
I mean, I feel like a terminal is such a basic thing. So I don't see a reason why you would have anything proprietary for it.
Yeah. I think the developers maybe they'll one day make it open source, but maybe they'll take advantage of it being proprietary, potentially try and make money out of it. Who knows? But we'll just have to see where this goes with Warp.
Mm-hmm.
You're not a Linux user, are you, Hotshot? I'm guessing.
Nope. I'm not. Not right now, at least.
What OS do you use?
I use Windows.
The majority operating system. It's actually relatively not that normal that the two main people hosted a show. I use macOS and sometimes Linux, and Pigus uses Linux all the time. As well as Windows. I think you also use that, but
yeah, slightly.
But you prefer Linux, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, I prefer Linux as well. I mean, look at my YouTube title, to be honest. But and my name on Discord. But But yeah, so of course, I really do like Linux. It's very cool. I like, be able to customize stuff and do all sorts of stuff with the software, which you just don't get with macOS. You don't get those options. So that is one thing that I prefer about Linux. However, I guess if I build a PC, I'll use Linux, not macOS, because you can't even use macOS on PCs, even if you wanted to. But
Hackintosh.
yes, Hackintosh, I am not Mickey Hackintosh. That sounds like a horrible idea. But yeah, so
That's pretty easy.
okay. Anyway, yeah, let's discuss this later and not on a YouTube stream. If you're gonna discuss Hackintoshing, I don't know what YouTube's policy is on discussing that, but I don't want to test it. Anyway,
Nah, let's not.
yeah, so
I mean, there's channels dedicated to it.
yeah, unless they one day just crack down on it and it's no more. There's always that
Sure.
possibility. Anyway, so let's move on here to the next story. So, one YouTube story. Speaking of I nearly said the devil. I suppose it depends on your perspective. Speaking of the platform we're on right this second. So so apparently they are. They're apparently testing out offline downloads on desktop for YouTube Music. So for subscribers to YouTube Music, this will be pretty good if you're using your desktop, because now you can actually download full albums on your YouTube Music. So this is pretty nice. However, of course, it is still limited to premium subscribers. Although, of course, most people using YouTube Music are premium subscribers.
I'm one of them.
Are
Actually.
you? Are you going to use this?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, probably. Since I'm out traveling quite a bit, and while you're on the train and it goes through like the woods and stuff, that's not very fun if you don't have any music downloaded. And yeah, so that would be that's a welcome update.
Yeah, it's cool. Although you might not be taking your desktop with you, but who knows? You might be listening on your phone.
I've only got a laptop right now, so.
Oh, so this is all very applied to you. That's nice. Good for you.
Yeah.
So moving on to another big tech company. So Apple, one of the big tech companies. They are making a pretty big change here. So Apple ID will now be an Apple account. So Apple ID has been the kind of term for Apple accounts for such a long time at this point. For years, these days, people these days talk about Apple IDs. They talk about having no Apple ID, and now apparently it will just be a generic Apple account. So I think this might be a mistake by Apple. I think Apple ID is so distinctive. Apple account is just not on the same level. I mean,
No.
sure, there's like 2 A's, I suppose. I don't know. It doesn't sound special though, does it? There's no sort of wordplay there. It is, it's just an Apple account. So that they've really lost something here, I feel. But perhaps they think it is more fitting with their brand. I mean, they have got rid of the I a lot recently. I mean, iMessage became messages. ID. I mean, I suppose ID just is identification. It's beyond Apple. However, they have got rid of it here for whatever reason. Do you have any thoughts, Pigus, or Hotshot?
It's just Apple ID is like distinct compared to everything else. It just feels like all the other competitors now.
Yeah, but maybe they're doing it to not scare their users with like AI and stuff. Because ID is identification after all.
Yeah, but
I
how does
mean,
that link to the AI? If you know, yeah.
I mean, if you're paranoid enough and think your identity and an AI, that can be kind of scary.
Yes, you see, hang on, I've got an AI on my phone, and it says ID. Oh no, it's all connected. You see, that is, tinfoil hat, level of stuff. However, of course, people, will try and connect these things. They will say there's, Apple ID, there's the AI on the iPhone. Yeah, perhaps that might freak people out. I'd never thought about it from that angle. I probably would have never. So thank you for that one.
My pleasure.
Anyway, moving on here to another story. So, Coinbase, this is scary for some users, that they're scared that one day their crypto account could get hacked. Well, Coinbase users, you might have got that scare if you logged in, because some balances started saying $0. But apparently,
Wow.
they said, don't freak out, it's a mistake. It's an error. It's just a bit of a misclick by the developers. They didn't mean for this to happen. And of course, you're probably scared the ever living hell out of some Coinbase users out there. They're just going about their day, they check their portfolio, and then suddenly they see that zero figure. That horrifying figure, and they're like, what just happened? Did I just get hacked? What just happened? Did the entire exchange get, kind of ransacked? Am I, gonna lose all my money here? Of course, that's gonna scare a lot of people, not exactly sure what's going on with their portfolio. However, it is apparently just a technical error. Have you guys got any thoughts? They should really get better at controlling this kind of stuff from stopping this stuff from happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of funny.
I mean,
I agree.
it's not April Fast though, guys. It's not April Fast. You can't be. Also, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, it is kind of funny, but on the other hand, it could have freaked out a lot of people, to be honest, if they see that. Because of course, you're like, where's my money gone? Have they just stolen my money? Has somebody else stolen my money? There's of course
Mhm.
that worry in people's heads, and of course this will just, this will of course make people even more paranoid when it comes to, their funds, and of course without that, FCA protection, or in the US, I don't know what the equivalent is. What is it? I'm trying to remember what the US equivalent to FCA protection is. Where you have a certain amount of money insured. So here in the UK, it's up to £250,000, I think. But anyway, in the US, that's just when it comes to crypto exchanges in general, there's no real insurance on it. So there's always that worry. And you might not get your money back, so that's always a thing to consider.
Mhm.
Do you guys have any thoughts on this story?
Not really. It's to be expected with crypto, I suppose.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
and software-based exchanges as well. You can only make a minor mess up when it comes to the calculations, and then suddenly, your $20,000 goes to $0, and then you're suddenly
Mhm.
slightly worried about where all that money went. So
Yep.
yeah, I mean, it's a simple mistake to make. Probably somebody working on the back end, or maybe even the front end, made a little bit of a mistake here. But it only affected a few users, and yeah, your crypto is safe if that is you. Of course, please do check. Somebody could have actually nicked your crypto. You better be vigilant. But anyway. let's move on to another story, which is, a really interesting one here. For quite a while, SD cards were seen as a slower thing, something that kind of doesn't have the correct, the best write speeds. It's not the fastest form of flash, secondary storage, I suppose. And now, apparently, with the new SD Express cards by Samsung, you can now get some pretty amazing speeds up to 800 megabits per second. Of course, this won't be sustained write speeds, I'm guessing, given that they only have a very basic thermal protection. So there'll probably be a lot of throttling going on when it comes to these micro SD cards. However, of course, previously the SD cards got nowhere near these speeds. Sorry. And yeah, I suppose this will be a nice thing for those who use micro SD. Very nice form factor. Do you guys have any thoughts on this?
Yeah.
About time.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, we're we're not exactly gonna see this be sustained speeds at 500 megabytes per second, because of course it is going to probably thermal throttle, given how really fast those speeds are, and how it will generate a lot of heat. But we'll just have to see how that goes. Anyway, moving on to the last story we're covering today, guys. Of course, if you guys have any thoughts on any other stories this week, maybe you want to send in one of a story you wanted to see as well, which we haven't got around to covering. Be my guest, guys. Be my guest. Come over to the YouTube chat and actually share that. But yeah, so the last story we're covering today, Piggis brought it to me. I saw it earlier, but, I forgot to put it in the notes. So thank you, Piggis, for reminding me of this one. Yeah, so apparently, the White House has officially urged people to use memory safe programming languages and not to use non-memory safe ones such as C and C++. So that's pretty big news. That is like, the government is actually, in the US, is actually saying that you should try and use memory safe languages, which is, quite a big thing. I mean, C and C++ and C Sharp, they've always been the big languages for, quite a while now. C has, dates back more than 50 years at this point. And yeah, this is pretty big news for those who are developers, because of course, the move over to memory safe languages may accelerate if the White House puts some emphasis on it, I suppose. Do you have any thoughts, Piggis?
Mm-hmm.
As a developer?
Mm.
No thoughts? Yeah, okay. That's cool.
Mm.
Do you guys do you have any thoughts, Hotshot?
Not really.
Of course, yeah. So C and C++, non-memory safe languages, which is most of them. Of course, there are memory safety issues if you don't run write perfect code. There's always a possibility for sorts of, errors which could lead to vulnerabilities. And of course, if you can't handle those, errors, then yeah, there could be some vulnerabilities in the code. So of course, historically buffer overflow attacks and stuff related to memory have been quite big vulnerabilities. So it's interesting to see more of people advocating for these memory safe languages, especially at such a high place.
Yeah, because the memory related bugs and vulnerabilities are the majority of vulnerabilities that are found within apps.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's been, so many, kind of, it's been quite a few decades with these non-memory safe languages, and
Mhm.
these bugs have sprung up all over the place, and so maybe it's better to code in something like Rust or Go. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Go's memory safe, isn't it?
Yeah, they have a garbage collector.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so, and yeah, it's really interesting to see at such a high level, the White House, one of the most, kind of powerful, organizations out there, actually advocating for these memory safe languages. It suggests a lot will be done, for, actually, bringing these memory safe languages to, be actually the most popular ones, potentially.
Mm.
I think it's only a matter of time until like memory safe languages overtake non-memory safe languages
I mean,
to become
yeah, the thing
bigger.
is, when they consider building new applications, memory safe languages are um, like they prioritize choosing memory safe languages
Hmm.
often.
Yeah, yeah. So
It's
it's really
problem
for the
comes with
future.
like the problem comes with like older projects that needs be maintained because they can't really just migrate all the code to like Rust or something.
Yeah, it would take a while. I mean, if you want to migrate code, it takes a very long time, and of course, slowly you phase stuff out. But of course, there are people coding like COBOL, and you know Pascal and stuff like that. And yeah, they were trying to port stuff into C and stuff like that, and they were trying to move stuff over. And now it appears that people have to be moving stuff from C to Rust and stuff like that. So the cycle goes on and on. Who knows what the next thing will be? Who knows what the next programming language in the next few decades will be? Uh, if we knew that, then everybody would already be trying to learn it. Anyway, yeah. So,
Mm.
any other thoughts, guys, before we wrap up this show?
It was interesting when I read the official PDF from the White House. They stated how they wanted to move to languages like Rust in development of space-related projects.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Just before we finish off here, guys, just so we can talk a bit about what happened pre-show, guys. That was a little fun. But yeah, so here's actually the thing that I was drinking, guys. This is the interesting soda. I suppose if you want to check it out, I don't know. If you if you would want to, but a bit random, guys. But I tried it out and it was alright. Even if it has a state of California, don't this causes cancer and birth defects. I mean, yeah, that's a bit worrying. But but yeah, so this is quite a this is a drink in mainland China. So it's interesting to try it over here. However, it didn't impress me too much. So yeah. But quite a decent drink, but not exactly the most interesting flavor. But yeah, that's my review of this drink, guys. I hope you enjoyed the review of the drink as well as everything else. Yeah. And anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, and share. In fact, I will actually transition onto the main camera here to say this stuff. So hey guys, welcome back here. So like, subscribe, and share. Um, and visit sandrolinux.com for all of my latest blog posts and stuff like that. And yeah, thank you guys for watching once again. You can come to the Discord server if you want to talk live. And until the next one, guys, goodbye. Okay, so that was good.